Good to see you again, Mullo.
How are you, brother?
Mate, I'm fantastic, and it's been a while since we've seen each other.
Yeah, you remember me straight away. It's crazy.
Bro, you look younger and better.
Yeah,
That's why I can remember you, man. I'm looking at you, I'm going, who's this solid guy? Because you look like you're about to go upstairs and train.
I did. I went and done some push-ups and come back
I just
down.
got back from Byron Base and my brain was everywhere. But, mate, it's great to have you on the Elevate podcast, and thanks, Jakey, for bringing him down. And, you know, my early recollection of you, not just from, like, obviously meeting you with Steve Gillies, nicknamed Chimes, but my early recollection of you was you were the pin-up boy for Newcastle, and, you know, everyone was looking at you as the saviour.
Yeah.
Of, you know, after the Johns brothers and the era that passed by. And I'd like to go into that, but like tell us a little bit about how rugby league started for you and where it all began.
Yeah, so born in Singleton, but grew up, started playing football in Taree for Taree United, and used to play against Scotty Giro, who went on to have a great career too. So then they merged with the Taree Panthers, and then mum and dad split up. And mum moved to Newcastle, and dad was still a copper in Taree, so I stayed with him, and mum went up there, but with his shift work and stuff like that, I had to go to Newcastle. So I started playing for West Newcastle. We had, our side was, by the end of it, it was me, Luke Walsh, that went on and played, Greg Inglis come and played. So
Greg Inglis?
Yeah. So he's a
team.
Queenslander, of course he is.
Yeah.
So we'll smash the side away a fair bit. But, and then, sort of, you know, the junior reps and all that, and then Newcastle sort of approached me when I was 15 to come and, you know, do a trial, and just went from there. Yeah.
Wow. And so obviously we know Chimes. When did Chimes come into the picture? At what point in your career was he there getting you the contract?
Yeah, so just before I was about to play Harold Matthews, he come to us, we was talking about it before. There was a manager that come before him, all dressed in a suit, you know, laptop and all that sort of stuff, like looked like, you know, the bee's knees. And then the next manager to come through was Chimes, and looked like he literally just got out the gutter after a big night. He had ripped jeans on. He had a manila folder. I don't think anything was in it. He had Jarod Mullen's, he spelled my name wrong and all this sort of stuff, and he come and sat down, and I think it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and he started a beer with my dad, and Dad goes, "Nah, he's the man. He's the man to do it." And it's probably the best decision I ever made. He was unreal for me.
What then you go into junior reps after 15. What sort of environment was it like in Newcastle coming through the junior reps? What coaches did you have? What other players were there? And who did you sort of learn off as you started to go up in the grades?
To be quite honest, Jake, I was really lucky. So I was always playing up in age.
Yep.
So when Harold Match was under 16s, I was under 15, and I played a game of under 16s Origin, and it was before the main game. So Joey and Bedsy and all that were playing the main game, so they come a bit early to watch us play. And Joey was watching, and he goes, "Who's the number 6 out there?" And they go, "He's actually at Newcastle." And he goes, "Here's my number. Tell him to give me a ring," because it was Wednesday. Tell him to give me a ring Monday, and I'll do some sessions with him. So I got that. That was my scariest phone call I've ever made. Like, I think I called him like Mr. Andrew or something like that. So this is Jarrod. He goes, "Meet me down Townsend Oval, which is in Newcastle. In 20 minutes, we'll do some drills." And so he took me under his wing. I was doing one-on-one sessions at like 15, 16 with the greatest player in the world. It was just phenomenal. So I've still got like a book at home with like all the tips and all that. So I was very lucky to get mentored by one of the best. So yeah.
And it's another story. Like Shandor expressed last week's a phone call that he had with Brad Fittler. You know, I've got a couple cool stories as well where these things no one else knows about except you. You know what I mean? So like those little gifts that you got at the start of your career, it's amazing that sort of stuff in the free time that those types of players, especially A. Johns, like he's the pinnacle of footy, to be able to give you his time, that would have helped you win.
Oh, it was, like I said, it was phenomenal, but he's a hard ass too. Like, you know, I was only 15, still learning the thing. If you did something wrong, he'd let you know. But that was a tough school back in the day, you know what I mean? And that's how I sort of learnt. But like, and obviously Danny Medeiros was a big part too because he's a Taree boy and all that. So I had some great mentors coming through. You know, the Gidley brothers and Steve Simpson, and there's a lot to name. But I was very lucky coming through, learning from some good players.
As you're, you know, warming into your career and playing, you did have a fair few injuries.
Oh yeah.
Right? And And it's not always easy overcoming those. Like, you come back on the field, you feel great, you're ready to rock, you've trained your butt off to get back on. How did you deal with overcoming that? Because, it's not like every player went through something like you were going through, especially playing that key position when everyone depends on you.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like, I reckon out of all the surgeries that I had, I come back weeks before what I should have, because I felt like you're on good money, the team needs you, all that sort of stuff. So I ended up having 4 shoulder reconstructions, my hamstring reattached, got snapped in half, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, look, I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, there's some dark days because, as Jake, you know, when you're in the rehab group, you don't actually train with the main group. So you're isolated. You're there getting flogged by the rehab coach. Shout out to Reedy McReed. Thanks for flogging me for years, mate. He was a hard ass, but you're really good at your job. But yeah, so you're not really with the main group. You're sort of doing your own sort of stuff, and then until you're sort of ready to get back on the park, that's when you join them again. So, I think they've changed that a bit, which is good. But yeah, the isolation was pretty difficult. Yeah, but it's a mental game. Like, to get injured and work your way back. If you get injured again, it's just, come on, let's do it again, you know what I mean? But so you've got to be a bit crazy, I think.
Yeah. In rugby league, the biggest thing that I see players miss is the dressing sheds and the camaraderie. What's it been like for you? Do you miss that? What is it that you miss the most in the game right now?
Just miss, definitely not pre-seasons.
Yeah, definitely not.
Jeez,
How fun.
Yeah. Just, honestly, just being around your mates every day, you know what I mean? Like players out there, if you listen, don't take that for granted. Like, you're with your best mates every day. You're getting paid to play a game you love. Like, I think I took that for granted a fair bit now that you're sort of, working other things around your life now. But that's probably the main thing I miss. But it's good. Like, Newcastle's very good at inviting you back whenever you sort of need to come back and want to be around the players and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool to get back around there.
Newcastle, what's it actually like as a club? Because you hear stories and it's the hunter. So, I'm fortunate enough to play in the Alex McKinnon Cup when it first started in 2015.
Yeah.
And we went there to torrential rain. There was still 10, 12,000 people at the game. And I'm talking torrential. The rain was coming in sideways.
Probably more. So we'll probably get better crowds when we're getting beat.
Yeah.
Just because they rally around the team. Like, the fans there are phenomenal. Like, and there was a stat, I don't know what it was, but if we got beat, the whole Newcastle productivity on Monday was down 10% or 12%, but if we won, it was up 12. That's how much they support their club. But just running out there and, they support you no matter what, you know what I mean? They just love their rugby league. But I think it's hard to say. I think they took for granted the Johns era and the Ben Kennedy and Steve Simpson and Danny Medeiros, like those, Tamana Tahu, that 2001 grand final, the 2000 when they should have made the grand, like that was a phenomenal team. And I think they're expecting that a bit now at the moment. With, and it's a lot of pressure on KP. I think they just need some people around him to help him out. You know what I mean? They're sort of just throwing him the ball and say, do your best sort of thing. So if you listen, I'm still fit, ready to go. If you want me back out there throwing balls around, KP will make you look good, bro.
Nice. I love the confidence.
To get back on the field.
Yep.
Surely there's a redemption story there for him to come
dude,
back. And Chimes would love to.
It's too quick, mate.
Chimes would love to have
last
you
10
back.
minutes. I'd last 10 minutes. Honestly. Just get me on for special teams. I'll kick it and then go off or something like that.
Special teams.
Special
Nice,
teams,
I like
yeah.
it. I like it.
Yeah.
But in your career, when you were at your peak, was there other clubs knocking at the door and saying to James, hey?
Yeah, so when you're sort of coming off contract, there was, but I don't think I've had a desire to leave Newcastle because it's such a really good place. But it was a funny story. So when Wayne Bennett signed at the club, obviously I don't know how many years I was there. I think the first or second training session, he called me into the office and he goes, "You're in your comfort zone here," and he goes, "And you're an enigma." And I didn't know what an enigma was. Whatever. I was like, "Is he rapping me or not?" No, he wasn't rapping me. He goes, "What are you scared of?" And stupid, I said, "Heights." And he goes, "Going from training, I'm booking you. You're jumping out of a plane tomorrow." I said, "Righto, whatever." Sort of thing. He goes, "Are you allowed to swear? Or F off." He goes, get out.
You can swear.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay." And then I just get a text saying, "You're flying out of Singleton Airport at this time tomorrow." Like, oh shit me. But it was the best thing but worst thing I've ever done, and that was the year 2013 where I come second in the Daily M and we got the game for the grand final. So there's a method to his madness, you know what I mean? Like, he's done it for a reason, but I should have said, like, something else, something that's good, you know what I mean? Like women. I hate them, mate. I hate them.
You talk about Wayne saying that to you. Did you ever feel like that? Did you ever feel like, I'm sweetie, so I can just get... You did?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to disrespect, but I don't think I had that pressure of another half sort of coming up to sort of get me into my position. So I did, feel that.
Yeah.
And he actually did say, so I'm going to tell you, he goes, you got more talent than Darren Lockyer. That's what he said to me. Before he said, you're jumping out of a plane. So I was on a high.
Yeah.
He goes, you're jumping, and you're an enigma.
Cut your
So,
grass.
yeah, something like that. So thanks, Wayne.
You spoke before, we had a laugh about pre-seasons. Your first one, you would have been about 17, 18 then, wouldn't you? Is that correct?
I was 16.
Okay. As in first grade? What was that like? Because you're going into, as you're speaking about, some of those players are like royalty, not just in Newcastle, but rugby league. Like, as soon as you started rattle the names off before, but Bill Peden, another one,
Bill
Newcastle,
Peden, yeah.
like you just sit there and you go, holy fuck.
Well, try and tackle like Steve Simpson when you're 16.
Yeah.
Made of titanium. Like,
Yeah.
I remember one session, we did like a beach session, and I was marking Matty Gidley. This is when he was at his peak, like, the Gidley flick and whatever.
Yeah.
And he got to me outside, and I just got his legs, but he flicked and the winger scored, and I got absolutely sprayed. Like, got to wrap the ball up on that. And I'm there just going, saying the thing to myself, he's a fucking Australian centre. He does that every week to normal centres. I don't think I want to play football anymore. He's been too mean to me. But like, that was the sort of standard they sort of had, you know what I mean? But yeah, you're still growing into your body. I think when I made my debut, I was 78 kilos and I had to wear shoulder pads. Like, I was tiny. But yeah.
With that, right, because there's a lot of halves that got put into first grade, not saying that they didn't earn it, right? Because you obviously did, because you got to put the jersey on. When you're that age, what's the actual thought process to prepare yourself to go out and play against men? Because you've gone from, as you were saying before, SG ball and then 15 playing, at Taree and that. Then all of a sudden you're running out the tunnel.
Yeah, so we won the SG ball grand final, and then I skipped flag, played a bit of reserve grade, and that's when Joey got injured in 2005. And I was actually in the library at school, and Michael Hagan rang me and said, "You're playing this week." So we just went off, like, because I was with Corey Patterson and a few of the boys and that. And so yeah, we played West Tigers. That's the year they won the comp. So my first touch in NRL was one. Remember Pat Richards did those torpy bombs? I had to catch that.
Yeah, nice.
And then we dropped at that set, and then it was a 3-on-3 scrum, and then Benji just comes straight opposite me, like that. I'm like, this is where he's. But I used to love him, so I studied his step. Yeah. And he done like the step, and I sort of read it, and he goes, "Oh, good tackle, bro." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man." Yeah. So it was just, it was a phenomenal thing, yeah. So and then I had to go to school the next day.
Because I remember the game. Joey was playing, but you kicked the field goal to win the game.
That was in 2006.
Yeah, up in Newcastle. I remember that. What was that moment like? Because, mate, I love,
ridiculous.
I love footy. Like, I've watched footy since my eyes got open, right? So I have a lot of I have a lot of memories watching them, and that was one of them. That's one of these questions I wanted to ask you was that, like, so you would have been 18 or 19 at the time.
I was 2018.
18. What's it like? Because I don't think you can really speak of this. When Andrew Johns goes, "You're taking the drop goal."
So all the pressure was sort of on him. So we played Manly, home semi. It was packed, like 30,000 people there, whatever. And the pressure kept on going on him, and he goes, "Next time we get down there, we're going to fake the man, go to you." But when you're that age, you're sort of a bit fearless. You're like, right, give it to me, I'll kick it. But if you watch the replay, I've dropped it sideways. I was lucky to sort of get it over, but the crowd just went in the background, and like I ran back as if it was like, I do this all the time, whatever. But then they got a penalty right near the end of the game, 40 metres out on the sideline. And Matty Orford went for the kick, and he missed it, and I caught it in the in goal. And I ran the full length of the field and got pulled down by Anthony Watmow. So, and then we ended up, like, that was the end of the game sort of thing. And my mates come up to me after the game, I thought they were going to wrap me, and they're like, "We had you for last try scorer." So they were off me. Because I didn't score the try. But that was sort of like, for Joey to put that confidence in me to put it over. So, it was pretty cool.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
You came through some rugby league royalty in an era that, rugby league was big, and it's still big now. But when you look at those players, like they're synonymous, and you're going to remember them forever. At what point in your career did you kind of go, I'm losing it a bit here, like losing control of yourself? Because we see in the rugby league culture, you know, people go out and drink and do all the things that they probably, you know, aren't really built to, you know, take that challenge on, because a lot of scrutiny comes with it.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously the rugby league culture is that. There's a lot of drinking, and we know from drinking, you're going to go to the next thing, and the next thing. And you see, like, just before the season got started with Ezra Mann, it's still there. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
You know, how do you deal with going hard? You know, you're playing, then you're going out, and you're trying to mask, you know, whether it be injuries or, you know, whether you're going to be in the side, you're not going to be in the side. Obviously, you didn't have that worry, but you had the pressure of this team's at this standard.
Yeah.
I've got to perform, and if I don't perform, man, I'm like the Newcastle people are going to come after.
Yeah, but funny you say that. Like when you say you got to perform, I thought so Joey was obviously there. I had to I thought I had to be there off the field. So when Joey was doing his thing, I had to be the loosest now. So I had to be the person to be the last at the party and the loosest and all that sort of stuff. So that's the mantle I thought I had to take over. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's no fault by anyone but me. You know what I mean? So don't worry, I had some fun times. It was great times, but we were talking before, you know, celebrated 6 years clean and sober a couple of days ago, and it's the best thing I've ever done. Like, I had my fun, but nothing, all bad decisions that I made in my life revolved around drinking or taking drugs. Since I've taken that out, simple, doesn't happen anymore, you know what I mean? So I'm very, very proud of, you know, doing that. I've had a lot of help along the way, don't get me wrong, but you know, 6 years is a long time. Like if you told the people I was partying with back then, they would go, no way. Like, I'd take you, no way. Or it could have been 6 years clean and sober, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
At those points when you're at your, you know, the lows and you're loose, did you ever see yourself coming out of it? Like,
No.
What was going through your mind?
No. You think you're invincible.
Yeah.
And you start blaming everyone else. So people would put, like, good mates would pull me aside and go, Mother, I want to settle down a bit. And I'm like, well, you get on it. Like, don't point your finger at me, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. But now looking back, they're just trying to help you, you know what I mean? They're doing their best to help you. But at no stage until I had the overdose that I thought I had a problem, which is crazy, you know what I mean? Like, all the stuff I was doing, I was like, oh, this is normal. But looking back now, it's just, you're insane.
Oh, mate, I can remember times straight away when I'd be out. I started going out when I was 17, 18. You know, as I said last week with Shandor, I got everything I wanted at that age.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with all my heroes and that. And I remember times as I started drinking more and more and more, I'd have my mates going, you probably shouldn't. And I'd be like, I'm sitting there having a schooner with you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I was in the same mindset, nowhere near in the same like player category, but I was always getting information to just slow it down a bit. And I just, funnily enough, it just would ramp me up. You know what I mean?
You put that barrier up and just go, oh, stuff you. No, I'm going harder now. Yeah. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, that sort of mindset. It's just, it's the more of sort of, as you're 6 years, I'm going into 5 years.
Yeah.
You begin to just realise all your little tell signs and your little loops. And I still learn things about myself every day in that regard. Like, I'll hear a song and it'll take me back to a bender. Like, that's, you know, and I'll sort of sit there and process that and be like, okay, well, you know, who do you want to be now? What's the next moment you want to be? Do you want to be better in that regard? Yeah.
I'll tell you what my triggers are. I'm not triggered, but think about, you know, when the bin men come around and get the bins?
Yeah.
Because you'd be going from the night before and the bins tell you, like, what time is it?
Yeah. It just
so
flies
my
past.
philosophy used to be, if I didn't get home before daylight, because I didn't want to be seen like that, I'm going the next day.
Yeah, you just keep going.
So strap yourself in, boys, we're going again. So,
what was the worst, we can talk about it now, what was the worst bender that you've done? Like, how long did you go for?
For nearly 5 days. So Derby Day, Derby Day's on Saturday.
But this was in the off season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is after I finished playing.
Yeah.
Right.
So Derby Day.
Yeah.
And got to Melbourne Cup. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, got to Melbourne Cup and sort of half petered out then.
Wow.
Yeah. And I felt disgraceful.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, I was all right.
Yeah. Well, at the time, you don't think about it because you're in that moment, right?
Yeah. But then, you start.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Wayne
You've been
comes to
asking
the
me
club.
questions, but
No,
keep going.
I know, but I will. But like this one here, Wayne comes to the club, right?
Yep.
He's telling you to jump out of an aeroplane.
Mm.
Does he? What point were you at when Wayne came? Were you going out hard still?
Nah.
No.
See, I didn't touch a drug till I was 23.
Yeah.
All right? Didn't touch a drug till I was 23. And during the season and that, very rarely, like maybe for your birthday or something like that, but always in the off season. Like just have a little dabble here and there. But when my career finished, that's when it just spiraled out of control because the players got told they weren't allowed to talk to me, the Knights players, so I was isolated. So who do you gravitate to? Other people that are unemployed. So I got my money taken away from me straight away. Everything got cut off. No mates and all that. So you gravitate towards people that aren't working and whatever. So that's when it just escalated from there. Yeah.
So that was after the 4 years, like obviously the
start of the 4 year.
We'll get into,
Yeah.
So
when I was playing, I wasn't out of control. Like here and there, but I wasn't out of control doing that. Yeah.
And let's get into that ASADA because I'm going to go back into this, but the point of your career where you lost it the most was obviously after the rugby league said you're suspended for 4 years, right?
ASADA, yep.
When you hear that, what's the process there? Do you call Chimes? What are you and Chimes talking about?
So the story goes, ASADA knocked on my door and I looked through the camera and they're all dressed in white, so I thought they were Jehovah's Witness or whatever, so I didn't answer the door. Anyway, and then Nathan Brown was the coach at the time. He rang me and goes, you need to answer that door, it's ASADA. So I thought they were just coming to test me. I was like, oh, okay, come in like that, and then sat me down, whatever, and they're like, do you remember getting tested at this date, which was in September, whatever? No, it was in January. I said, oh, yeah. They said, you've gone positive for a drug called Drosterone. Do you know what that is? Or I was like, no, like hand on heart, didn't know what it was. And I said, can you ingest it? And they said, no, it's got to be injected. And straight away I thought what we were talking about before. Oh, mate, so after they left, I rang him and said, what the fuck have you done, sort of thing like that. And he was like, oh, it was my mistake, all this sort of shit. And that needle was meant for the next person after you. So
what were you meant to get?
So like an amino acid injection, just sort of. So that's when I tore my hamstring.
Yep.
So it snapped in half, just to help with the healing sort of thing, right? So this Drosterone stuff stays in your system for 6 months. So when we went to the tribunal, I was like, what? And it does more damage. So it damages your cells. It doesn't actually make you bigger, faster, stronger, or anything like that. So my argument was why would I take something that's going to damage my hamstring, and we get tested every 3-4 weeks or 6 weeks, but that I know that stays in for 6 months. Just doesn't make sense. At that point in my career, I was 28. Like I don't need to get bigger, faster, stronger, anything like that. So that was my argument. And then so I went to him and seen him face to face, the bloke, and I said, mate, I've got 4 years, or if I give you up, it's only 2 years. And he was crying, saying he's going to lose his practice and his dad's got cancer and all this sort of stuff. And me being me, I was like, okay, I'll take the road, but as long as you come to the tribunal where they get all the information, say what you've done, and hopefully I can get that reduced. He's like, yeah, no worries. And then he skipped it, didn't turn up, nothing.
What is Chimes saying? What's he saying to you at that point?
So Chimes, when it first happened, he come down and goes, you can take this, you can go either way with this. You can use this as a positive in your life, or you can go down the wrong path. And I chose the wrong path. Yeah. And he still reminds me to this day, don't worry. Yeah.
But it's hard when you don't have the support network, because right now Newcastle have just thrown you out.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear your story. They don't want to hear anything.
And I couldn't leave the house because you think everyone's talking about you, obviously, without being off my head in some way, whether it was cocaine or prescription drugs or something like that, because I couldn't handle sitting at a cafe and people were like, you know what I mean, that sort of stuff. So it was hard. It was very hard.
So was this doctor? Was he in the?
He's not a doctor. He was just a physio.
So was he in the Newcastle system, or was he outside of the system?
He was outside the system, but he was very good dry needler. So any sort of injuries that we had, the club would say go see him because he'll fix you, sort of thing. So he wasn't involved in the club indirectly, but other players went and seen him too. So it wasn't like it was just a one-off sort of thing. So.
Can I just jump in the process? Why what's with the isolation? Why was it you got to go over there while we're over here now? What was the sort of, why was that put in place?
Because the physios at the time, if they couldn't fix the injury,
Yeah.
or like the dry needling would fix it, but they wouldn't know how to do the dry needling properly.
Yeah.
Because you got learnt from the best.
Yeah.
So they'll send you there.
Yeah.
Come back and go, okay, you're right to go now. So at the time, like, they don't care. Like Gids have seen him, Adam McDougall, Willie Mason, all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't like, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And then the band. You're over there while we're over here. Was there any help? Was there any sort of like arm length sort of, we're going to support you still, even though there was nothing?
No. The only person that sort of come in to help support a bit was Matty Gidley at the time.
Yep.
I don't want to say sort of too much, but there's a lot of people that sort of come in and just pretty much went,
yeah, okay,
see you later sort of thing. But 13 years of your blood, sweat and tears in the club, and when the players got told they weren't going to talk to me, because I was trying to ring a few of the boys going, like, what's going on? And they wouldn't answer the phone. And then one of the boys, like Rossi, Nathan Ross, came round to my house, like secretly. He's
Ross
like,
dog.
we've been told, Ross dog.
Yeah.
We've been told we're not allowed to talk to you. I'm like, okay, well, thanks for the support, boys. Like,
yeah.
So.
Was there any reason behind that? Is it just because there was just so many stories and narratives getting?
I think they thought that other players were involved, or like seeing this bloke and getting whatever like that. So I think that's what it was.
Yep.
But yeah, at the same time, I don't really know.
Yep.
So you're 28 at that point, and it's almost like, for a half, it's almost at the peak of their career as well, because you're just getting better. You can see the game better. You can see, how the plays are compared to when you started. You know what you're dealing with. How does that affect? Well, obviously it affected you a lot, right? What are some of the things when you look back at your career that you go, fuck, I've learned a lot from what I was doing and the actions I was taking, that you've been able to take on, you're 6 years sober now. Like, what are the things that you would have changed? Because everyone looks back at their life, there's always some sort of regret, or, you could have applied yourself more, you could have been better at this, better at that. What do you think you could have done better?
Oh, definitely. I definitely trained hard and trained a lot outside of, training stuff like that. But probably diet was a big one. Yep. I used to sort of eat whatever I wanted, and I didn't realise how much that affected my performance. But I don't know. Like I can't sort of put anything down to it. But what you said before about the when everything got taken away from me, I just signed a 3-year deal, $800,000 a year for $2.4 million, and didn't see 1 cent of that because. Wow. That's when I got the ban. So I'd sit at home and think about that, going, this has been taken away from me.
Yep.
The bloke's got off scot-free. I'm the one copping all the shit. What are you going to do to mask it? I'll go on a bender because that always makes it better.
Yeah.
Never. It does for the first 2 days, and then you just come back to reality and whatever. But I'll do a lot of things different, definitely. Taking football a bit more, not serious, but yeah, I don't know. Like, probably my preparation could have been a bit better. Like, sometimes, you're sort of a bit lackadaisical going to some games. But in terms of life now, like I do rugby league one-on-one coaching with the kids. So I've got 62 kids on my books. So I'm very busy doing that, and just I think they respond well because and the parents as well. Like, because I've been there, played the game, had the ups, had the downs, all that sort of stuff. So you can sort of coach them into go, okay, this isn't always going to work, all that. But you get some parents that, this kid's 8 years old and they come up to you and go, you reckon you play NRL? I'm like, just let the kid play, you know what I mean? Let them have fun, you know what I mean? So, but no, I love it. I wouldn't.
I want to speak about resilience with you because as we're speaking about the things now, and hindsight is our best teacher. Regret, I use regret as a tool for me to be able to be better, and with resilience, you talk about professionalism before. You played first grade at 17, 18. Like, so you obviously were ticking all the boxes early to be able to get yourself into that position, I suppose. And you talked about all the things you did away from the field. With resilience, when you did early on in your career, because you're still a young fella, when things didn't go your way, what did you actually do when you were 17, 18, 19, 20 playing grade to get yourself back in?
Train harder.
Yep.
So train when no one else is training. That was one of the mottos that I had. So Joey put that in me. So when people are getting up late or something like that, I'm already down the park kicking footies and stuff like that. So we did this thing one day. It was only supposed to go for an hour, but I think it went for like 5 hours. Me and Joey went to the main stadium. It was marathon at the time. And this is the way his brain thought. So we had a book, and it was like kick number 1, kick number 2, and hitting the ball on a certain angle and stuff like which way it spun. Okay, that one spun that way because of this kick and all this sort of stuff. And we're there for like 5 hours doing it. So it was like an amazing sort of thing. But like, who else was doing that sort of stuff? You know what I mean? Like he could know how to kick it to pull it up, or know how to kick it to roll it on, and all that sort of stuff. Where, yeah, Cleary and all that's doing that these days.
Yep.
Like, he's a freak, but like. This is all stuff Joe done 20 years, you know what I mean? So, but I was always a good trainer and stuff like that, but probably, preparation going to the games is something will probably change,
The halves playing now, do you...
Robotic.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say to you. What do you see in those halves in the last 3, 4, 5? Because this, I view them, they're freaks, bro. Like, you know, different rugby league they play, obviously. Like, you've got your Munsters, your Clearys, you know... Ponga's obviously a fullback, but I love those players that know where they're going, but they also have that bit of flair. Do they like? Is there bits of the game where you look at and still critique a little bit? Are you still a bit of a footy head? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't sit there and critique because, as you know, on the field things happen in a split second, and everyone's the best coach from the stands. Like, why didn't you go down there? Like, it was a 3-on-2, but like everything happens like that. But so the job I'm doing, like the work I'm doing now, is a lot with hookers and halves and like any position. But there's been a gap in terms of if you're, say you're a coach for an under 7s, 8s, 9s team, usually a dad or something like that. So they don't have the time to actually show the kids how to hold the ball, to spin the ball. They kick at it or whatever like that. So they automatically think they know how to kick, pass, catch, and all that. And that goes through all the grades. So I'm coaching kids now that are on SG ball, flag, nearly playing reserve grade, and they still don't know how to hold the ball to kick properly. There's just been a massive gap in that. So when you actually show them like the right techniques and stuff like that, and like I am doing cheat sheets because it's all Joey stuff taught me, but it's just the amount of improvement that they have is phenomenal. So, but like I said about the robotics, it's like not many players play eyes up football too much anymore. It's like we're going here for that, then that, like except for like the Cody Walkers. I love to watch him play because he plays what he sees. He's very he plays with tempo. Tempo is such a big thing these days, like slow to fast, fast to slow, and all that sort of stuff. And you see Cody in a game where he'll go quick and slow his feet and wait for the defence to do something, then he would do it. And I bet everyone else is screaming at TV going, go tackle him, just go get him. But like when you slow your feet, that's when the defence slows their feet and all that. I love that tempo sort of stuff. So that's all the stuff I'm teaching the kids now.
Unreal.
It seems like you're still very, very passionate about the game as you were when you were younger.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that it's hard to instill it in young kids because they're not there yet because of the culture of the game still, and the culture really hasn't changed that much, right? What are some of the tips that you give these young kids?
Footy-wise or away from the game?
Away from the game. Because, I mean, away from the game is what ruins you. It's not being there in the sheds and all that kind of stuff.
So I've got a saying that I give all the kids is, I think, who's that? I don't watch many. Who's that motivational speaker, the big dude with big jaw?
Not
Big dude with big There's a couple of them.
Over in America.
Yeah, Tim Robbins, man.
Yeah,
There's only one big jaw.
Yeah, so you go, people are rewarded in public for what they practice in private for years, which is so true. So all the sessions I'm doing with the kids, they get down on themselves if they make a mistake. I'm like, no, this is where you make the mistakes. This is where you learn. So I film all the sessions. I cut it all up, send it back to them. They can ask me, what am I doing here, right and wrong and stuff like that. But definitely, doing that. That's definitely one of the things I go by.
Sober for 6 years. At what point, and who helped you out? Like when they said, hey, listen, man, this has got to stop. Because people would probably be telling you to stop, but what was the point where you go, fuck, that's it?
When I had the overdose.
Yeah.
So I was on a 3-day bender, and then it got to Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, and my mum and dad texted me saying we're going to come home and take you out for lunch. I'm like, beauty. Not hungry, nothing. Obviously. Yeah. So I won't say I was with or whatever, but I said I need something to calm me down, whatever like that. And I had there was Xannies and Xanax and Oxycontin, whatever like that. Yeah. I didn't remember what I just put it in my mouth, took it, swallowed it, got home. All I remember was sitting on the lounge, watching TV, And the next minute I'm woken up and I'm in the ambulance, and mum's next to me with tears in her eyes. So mum and dad come home actually early, and I was choking, I was going grey, and like nearly taking my last breath. So if they didn't come earlier, I'd be dead.
Wow.
So yeah, that was very confronting for them, obviously. And so I woke up in hospital, and I was deaf in both ears for 2 days.
Wow.
So the nurses were talking to me, I couldn't hear them or anything like that, because when I could finally hear the professor come in and said, "You're doing that much cocaine that you damage the cochlear nerve that runs from your nose to your ear." And so now I'm 60% deaf in both ears, and I've got that continuous tinnitus ring. So like
60%.
60%, yeah.
How the fuck are you hearing us right now? Fucking hell.
No,
You're doing all right.
Yeah, so he's all right,
Yeah.
but like if you were like talking over there, I
He's got
couldn't hear
nothing.
anything. Yeah, so
Don't worry, I felt like that when you walked in. I go, where the hell have I seen this guy?
the deaf
I thought I was
the
losing
deaf
my
bloke.
mind. That was eyesight.
Yeah, so that was scary, and then so it started coming back slowly, and then you had a professor sitting there in the bed, and they're like, "Did you do this on purpose? Because everything I've been through."
Yes.
I'm like, no, I said like no, like it was an accident. And then mum and dad said, "Do you think you should need to go to rehab?" I'm like, "Yeah, 100%."
Yeah.
So I went straight from there, straight to Ashfield Medical Centre there, and 28 days in there. GNL, Sandor's mum,
Yep.
helped me massively. She's been a guardian angel to help me through that. And then as soon as I got out of the rehab, I didn't even go back to Newcastle. I went straight to Wollongong and just stayed off it since. Did NA meetings and stuff like that, AA, NA meetings and stuff. But what a turning point in there is they, for some reason, they teach you that relapse is part of recovery, right? So, and I'm competitive, right? So I said to them, so you're telling me when I leave here, I'm a good chance of relapsing? They're like, that's part of the thing. I said, well, what the fuck am I doing here? And a lot of people that were in the rehab, they got let out. Next day they're back, like drunk and off their head. So until one bloke come in and spoke to us, and he was never touched a drug in his life, touched ice for the first time. He was on it for 10 years, lost everything, got off it, and been on for another 20. So I went and spoke to him. I said, so it only took you one go? He goes, only took me one go. And that gave me the motivation that I can do this just by one go. You know what I mean? So
When you're in those, like, what did you learn about you? What actually, because we've all got our own stories in what we choose not to accept and allow into our lives. And then when you actually did take the time to, you know, go to a place like that just allows you to be there as yourself, not the footy player, not the guy who got sacked, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
What did you begin to learn about yourself? Like what started coming up for you in thought processes, accountability, resilience, as we spoke about before? Because all these things, funnily enough, when I think about stuff in myself, footy actually instills that shit in us, and we don't even really buy into it as much because, you know, fuck, we're footy players. This is just how we are. But when you took the time to slow down in that place, what did you begin to figure out about yourself?
Obviously, things that triggered me, definitely that. Childhood trauma, I suppose. Look, don't get me wrong, I had a great childhood, but there's certain things.
Still things,
certain things that sort of happen sort of there with, you know, your parents breaking up and all that sort of stuff, and things I got told when I was a kid and all that. I felt unlovable, which is a big one. And I still struggle with that today. Like when someone sort of shows me love or something like that, I'm very quick to self-sabotage it. And like compliments. If someone says, so when you said today you're looking good, that's real uncomfortable for me. You know what I mean? It's like, no, rather than accepting it sort of thing. So
I get that.
Huh?
Yeah, I totally understand that for sure.
Well, you're looking good.
No, fuck that shit. Remember when we were up there, I said I hate it when I get the pat on the back. Because I know it's going to make me comfortable. Like for me, I feel like I'm going to get in the comfort zone. You know, like, you know, when people say they love you, like you accept it, but I go, fuck, if I get a pat on the back, I can't let that affect
I'm the same,
you must be the same. I think that's the competitive nature in us. Doesn't matter what field you're in, what you do, there's this competitiveness.
Exactly. And going back to your question, Jakey, like probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because this was at my lowest, taking all the drugs and that, one of the nurses said, go in the mirror and say, Jarrod, you're a good person. I couldn't do it. I could not look at myself in the mirror and do it. And it was just, that was hard because, like, I know deep down, and everyone knew that, like, you're a good person, but the person I was when I was on the drugs, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was the hardest.
Mate, I know 2 distinct moments in my life. I looked in the mirror and I was just like, what are you doing? And one was when I was living in Redcliffe and I'd broken my leg playing for Redcliffe. That was when I was working at a pet food factory, got sacked 18 months earlier. So the downward spiral, and I was like, what do you actually want to do, mate? And for whatever reason, that kicked my mind over. 18 months later, I'm back at the Dragons, right? Because of my mindset on how I thought about myself. Now, I ended up downward spiraling again because a little bit of self-acknowledgement, but not the full going in. Second one, same thing. My last time I drank, had a bit of a, didn't have the most productive night out. Come home the next day and I got out of the shower and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because the thing that I did, I sat there and I was like, I could go anywhere. I could go to the most beautiful places in the world, be around the most outstanding people.
Did you be
But
drinking?
me as myself, I'm incapable of allowing myself to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And those are the most humbling experiences that we experience for ourselves. Now, people view us as we go through life differently through their own lens, and that's okay too, because we do have to make decisions in our life that, funnily enough, do affect the people around us, even though we don't think they do. But when we start having a crack and wanting to change, you start to see everything else shift. Did you feel that too?
Yeah, exactly. Like when I'm at my happiest self, everyone else is happy around you. You know what I mean? Rather than what we spoke about before, I was making sure, you're happy. But if I wasn't happy myself, deep down, they weren't getting the real me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've had to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of, like you said, when you by yourself in those rehab things, man, you got to face some stuff to yourself. Yeah, it's tough, but honestly, the overdose is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me, which sounds crazy because I'd probably be in jail or dead.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it was someone telling me to go, look, if you're not going to stop, I'm stopping for you.
Yeah.
And get your life together. You know what I mean?
I want to go back to footy. Great chat too. I like where that sort of conversation just went. Is good. State of origin. What's looking back
next
now?
question.
Yeah. But because the thing is, right, it's still a massive part of your career.
Oh, yeah.
You were 20, were you?
20.
Firstly, getting picked, and then what sort of come after that for yourself?
I played Origin.
Yeah.
I got picked and then I played. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, well,
What happened?
What do you mean what happened?
Well, you would have got sacked straight after that. No, I'm only joking.
No. So
What happened? Yeah.
so we played up at Suncorp.
Yep.
I saw and watched the game. We were leading 18-12 at half time. And this was the second year there. What did they go for there? What was their dynasty?
No, I went for 9 or something. Yeah, they went
10
for a
years or
while.
something like that.
They killed
So
it.
they had like Lockyer, Thurston,
Fucking hell.
Carmichael Hunt,
Yeah.
Tony Carroll. Just a ridiculous team. And we're leading 18-6. We ended up getting beat.
Yep.
So I haven't watched it. But before the second Origin, I was at training at Newcastle and I dislocated my shoulder. And I had to get a shoulder reco. So I was out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought I got sacked after. I don't know if they're going to pick me for game 2.
Yeah, okay.
But if I was available, maybe they were going to. But I had to get a shoulder reco, and then the next year I got injured again, and then played. I think I ended up playing 6 city country games or something, but never got back there.
Yeah.
But at least I can say I did play. It was
100%.
it was up there in Suncorp. It was ridiculous. Like we had to. So Braith was the 5'8" at the time when I was halfback, and we had to come up with hand signals and stuff like that to talk to each other because the crowd was that deafening, you couldn't hear what was going on and stuff like that. So, and people were yelling out like, "Mullen, we're going to kill you after the game," and I'm like, 20, mate, leave me alone.
Yeah. Rugby
But
league, good.
they're hectic up there, but it was a great experience. But I think you just take it for granted too. Like you're 20 years old playing, I'm like, I'll play this again.
Yeah.
But it was just. Yeah, it was cool.
Cool experience, though?
Yeah, great experience.
I
Yeah,
bet.
I had all the family up there with the Mullen jerseys and stuff like that.
Unreal.
And it was unreal. But I know, like obviously, and the city country games, they're great experiences too. And I reckon they should still do them because
Mate.
a lot of these country areas, these families and kids, they can't afford to go to get into the city and watch the games and see their stars and stuff like. So I don't know why they stopped it.
I was fortunate, mate. I got to play in the last city country 2017. About 5 million people pulled out. So I got actually picked from reserve. I got pulled up from reserve grade at the time because what was happening at the Dragons with myself. But
Did you play?
yeah, I got picked
How'd
in
you
it.
go?
Freddie, good man. Freddie gave us about 60 minutes. It
Yeah,
was
good.
unreal. I was stoked because I'd been down in reserve grade, was going through a bit of a the business side of footy within rugby league, which is a great
Who was
thing.
the assistant coaches?
We had Butts
Yeah.
was in there, Freddie, and there was someone else. I actually can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a great week.
Yeah,
Freddie
best.
was the best. Like
Yeah.
we'd train, go in community, team drink, get out to where we needed to go to. It was just like playing another game.
Hegger's a team drink.
It's the best.
We
I
drove.
was doing the cha-cha-cha.
Where'd you play? Where'd you play?
We were out at Mudgee.
Yeah, we were Mudgee. Yeah.
Mudgee.
Did you get the bus there?
Yeah. It was
We got the bus
playing
there,
cards.
all blind, and Fergo.
Oh,
He's on the back of the bus crying because everyone's picking on him. Like, mate, we got off the bus and it was me, good group. This me, Toddy Carney, Greg Bird, all that sort of stuff.
that just equals fun. That.
Oh, mate,
That's fun.
Anyway, we had a massive night, and then Baz was the coach at the time, Trent Barrett.
Yeah.
It was us last four left at the pub, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna go." As we're getting back to the room, Birdie just shoves me in this rose bush,
That's a good
and
feeling.
I've cut everywhere. So the next morning to get up for training, everyone's like,
What
"What
happened
to you?" I've just got roses off of that. But yes, good times.
That city country, I had an idea ages ago. Like, even if you make it the blokes who have played 50 games or under, to be able to go and give them that rep experience. Because, mate, you get blokes like Freddie, obviously Tony Butterfield, all those guys. There was Craig Fitzgibbon was the coach at the time. You got those blokes who are like, again, rugby league royalty. They're the coaches. They can meet these young fellas, and then they can learn the tricks of the trade, and you get a rep jersey, and you get to go and play in rural New South Wales, whatever it is.
Mudgee's a good ground too.
Mate, it's unreal. Like it's such a it's something that I understand why they took it away because it's not an origin, but like if you get these guys who are 50 games into their career, potential origin players or potential whatever, and you can give them that game to get that little bit of experience, it'd be unreal.
Yeah, and like I said before, like those areas of people are so rural they can't get to games.
No.
So
and they get out there. There wasn't the grass. Everyone was standing up. The stand was full. There was people. Mate, everyone's having a good time. I think they stopped working on Friday.
I think it was the city country was a great spectacle. And like you said, I think it's a great idea. Bringing the players that are sort of on the fringe that haven't made it yet, because it makes them sort of level up. Going, you know what, I want to push the levels of where I've got to go to. I know how I've got to train now. How I've got to eat to get to that.
Well, I think they're doing that now pretty much with the Prime Minister's 13.
They are. Yeah.
So I did that. I made that in 2006. So it was their second year of going.
Yeah.
I got picked on the bench because they had Thurston and Scotty Prince and stuff like that. And Mal was the coach. Mate, funny story. So we playing the game. I'm on the bench, and he's looking around. I was tiny.
Yeah.
I reckon he thought I was the ball boy. Mate, I swear to you, right? He looks at me and goes, "What position do you play?" Like, didn't know. I said, "Oh, half 5." He goes, "Go take Robbie off. You're playing hooker, Robbie Farah."
Oh, good.
So I was tackling the Kummels head on, playing hooker, just going, "Oh, what am I doing here?" Like, just getting absolutely smashed.
They go hard too.
Yeah,
They go hard.
The Papua New Guinea, it's like hitting that cement. Yeah. He thought I was a ball boy. Go get that ball. Now, I had no idea. I was tiny.
You had some great coaches coach you, obviously. Out of the Michael Hagens, Wayne Bennett, Rick Stone, Brian Smith. Who did you learn the most from?
Brian Smith.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't expect that at all.
No, I didn't expect that.
What is it?
He's the smartest coach I've ever had.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very. He taught me. And you ask a lot of players, and they'll say the same thing. Like
I actually had that even from Braith.
He's
He played mind games,
mind game, all that sort of stuff. But in terms of
methodical, right?
percentages on the field and all that sort of stuff, like where to actually get to create that sort of thing. And I had that when I was 19, 20, like going to the Origin and that. So he was definitely the smartest coach I've had.
Let's dive into that so people can get a bit of awareness around it. Can you explain to us what you mean by certain spots of the field, percentages, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so if you get into like a near post and you've got, say, 4 on the short side, you're going to take that all the time, whatever. But if you put it a little bit 2 metres to the left and they put 3, it's even more advantageous. But if they put 4, the advantage is on the open side. So
60,
you need
40,
your forwards like you idiots. So Jakey, get me right there and sacrifice your metres and get me right on that point. And that's what sort of breaks the game up. Like it's literally metres and stuff like that.
So he was massive on that. He was massive on the disarray of the defensive line and then go to where the weak spot is.
Yeah, he's like very, very smart in terms of that, yeah. But away from the field is a bit different.
Yeah.
Bit different.
Off the field, yeah.
Yeah.
What was, like Braves, he hadn't mentioned on the podcast where off the field, there's mind games. I don't know. I don't even think he knew that he was doing that, but it was probably part of his persona.
I don't know.
Do you
I
reckon he
already
knew?
was.
Yeah, but it was part of
Intentional.
He would do stuff like Corey Patterson at the time was at the club,
Yep.
and Pato comes up and he goes, "Smithy's not talking to me. He hasn't spoken to me for a week." Right? I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Watches Smithy looks at the trainer, goes, Jarrod Mullen keeps walking. Was that Pato? He didn't talk to him for a full month, and then coming to the trainer next day, go, hey Pato, how you going? Just waiting for him to see if he'd crack or not." And stuff like that.
That's healthy.
And there'd be times where you go to a game and you're like in a huddle about to run out, and you tap someone and go, "You're not playing. This bloke's in for you. Just see how you'd handle it."
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that shit.
Yeah. So he done it with he didn't. I don't think he did it with us, but who was the curly-headed winger for Parramatta?
Oh, Peterson.
Yeah, Percy. He done
Yep.
that with him one time. So they were like warming up or ready to go out.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, late change, you're out," just to see how people react
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mate,
Did anyone ever go up to him and say, "Listen, mate, what the fuck are you doing?"
No,
No,
I was only
no,
20. You'd probably bash the shit out of me.
what about I'm curious, Hagen, because Hagen was there.
Yeah.
When Joey and all
Yep.
that were there, and they had what was he like? What was his dynamic like? Was he very personable? Did he try and work out people's personalities and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, but Joey coached the team.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
So this is like when you did video and stuff like that.
Yep.
Hayes would sort of sit at the back, and Joe would be there going, "This bloke's going to do this bloke's going to do that." BK would go right, left, right, offload, this.
Yep.
He'd know everything about everyone.
Yep.
So he'd be the coach out there. And Hayes was just, Hayes was good, he was smart,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
to have another coach on the field doing all that.
It helps.
And when I first come in, I'm like, this bloke's like, I know Joey, but
Yeah.
this bloke's not going to do this and do it like that.
Yeah.
And actually, a good story. My very first session with the Knights, we did the beep test, and Joey rocks up late, and he gets to it was a basketball court, and he gets there and he gets the footy, and you spin it like that,
Yeah.
and he goes like that and turns like that,
Yeah.
boots full length, straight in the hoop, up the other end of the court, and he just goes like that, and I went, "That's the best," and everyone's like, "Oh, he does it all the time." That's
arsey.
the best thing I've ever seen. Like, just freaky stuff like that. I've been trying to do it ever since. I still can't do it.
Wayne Bennett, he's back at South. It's unbelievable how he's been able to go for so many years. When he came in, obviously, he's made the semis. One of the years he's made the semis.
Yeah, well, I think, yep. First year, I think we come ninth. Second year, we got the game for the grand
Brought a lot
final.
of players there too.
Yeah.
Brought a lot of players there. What was his reception like in Newcastle? And obviously, then he leaves. Things go down for Newcastle. What was that period like?
Look, it was a good period. We had Nathan Tinkler at the time as the owner. He sort of come into all that sort of money and whatever, and got Wayne there. It was a tough sort of first year, and I think Wayne said, "So what do we need?" I think he was talking to Jeremy Smith. What do we need? And then he got it at the club. So he got Bowie Scott at the club. He got Neville Costigan, some good hard forwards. He loves his older sort of forwards and stuff like that. And that was the year 2013. We got the game before the grand
That
final.
was against the Roosters, wasn't it?
Roosters, yeah. And
But Dearest got knocked out.
Bedsy
eh?
got knocked
I
out
remember
by
that, yeah.
Hargrave's elbow
Yep.
because he never raises it.
Yeah.
But I love J-Do. So Bedsy got knocked out and gone in the first sort of 10 minutes and was sort of pretty much going over there. But we had a great year that year. And then the next year, that's the Alex McKinnon year. So that was very obviously devastating and all that. And then I think he left the year after that. So I think the expectation around Newcastle was like, wherever Wayne goes, you're definitely going to get a premiership. And when that didn't happen, there was a bit of animosity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. But it was. I love playing under it. Like you just want to know what made you tick and all that. And I ended up asking him one day. I said, "What's your secret? Like, what makes you like all these years?" He goes, "Marlows, I just surround myself with the best people at their jobs. So he'd go get the best physio in Australia, the best performance bloke there, so to make him look good, so the best assistant coaches. So he wasn't the best coach; he just make everyone happy. But we had good assistant coaches and stuff like that to make him look good and make sense. You know?
Did the Alex McKinnon? How did that affect everyone? How did that affect?
Probably more than what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was just for the guy, if you knew the bloke, it just shouldn't have happened to a nicer bloke. You know what I mean? It was very hard.
just while we're on Macca, Macca lived with Darius and I down there, and Macca was always going to do what he done. Like comes from a great family, great person, rugby
Loved
league,
his footy.
love footy, and those things I knew how I come home from work one day and seen it, and I was like, that didn't happen. It doesn't register. So I could only imagine what Alex and his family went through, but then the players on the field with that instance as well is
affected big time. And then we played a game like in his honour against Titans, and they were going horrible, and we were going all right, and we ended up getting beat at home, and it was just everyone was just so emotionally drained from the whole thing, and it was just a prick of a situation, really.
Yeah, he's going well now.
Oh yeah, he's very smart.
Yeah,
they got him at nights to do some video and stuff. He knows his stuff,
and he's very.
Yeah, so coming out of that would have been very, very challenging. And then obviously to lose Wayne and he leaves there, pretty much that next year, right? He leaves that next year. When you were playing during that period, did you find that you were kind of slipping away yourself after that period was over?
To be honest, not really, no. Like when I was playing and contracted at Newcastle and all that, I took my footy very seriously, obviously. And obviously, everyone does what they do in the off-season and whatever, but anytime I was at training, I was trying to set an example and all that sort of stuff, but everything just spiraled out of control and everything got taken away from me. Because
that's 4-year ban.
Yeah, because my whole life my identity was a rugby league player.
Yeah.
So I thought that's all I was. So when that gets taken away, nothing. Yeah. But now you look back, you're like, no, like I'm a good dad to my daughter. Good partner, good son. There's a lot of good things that can happen out of this, but when you're just so invested in rugby league, when that gets taken away, like you think you're nothing, you're a piece of shit, you know what I mean? So you gravitate towards people that are like that. So
I reckon I seen you probably around, when did I see you with Chimes? Was that about 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
You can't remember me.
No, I can't. I remember.
Yeah.
It was before COVID. It had to be before COVID, or was it after COVID?
It was before.
It was before, yeah. So that would have been...
It was before this because I was partying.
Yeah, so it was
a while ago.
So, yeah. So
you still look the same. You look good too. I'll pat you on the back.
You know what? I had a good fade last week.
The haircut.
I had a good fade.
Food.
But I'm not happy with it. I could still see the grey coming out. I'm not happy with it. I said go higher. Yeah. But, mate, that's why I got to be at the barber every 7 days. Yeah. Without the job, I'm fucked.
Shit at all barbers
and the gel
yeah.
brings my age down.
I like it. It would have been, 7 years ago or something like that.
7 years ago. So that was actually then before. Was it just before the suspension?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking hell. Wow. It's unbelievable what something like that can do to you. And especially when you guys are having the off season, the first thing you're going to go to is what the off season looks like, because it's a sport. They build you to be a warrior, and you got to have this tough exterior, and you can't crack under pressure.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have to jump out of a plane. So they test you with all these, and then you have this off season. And you're not even prepared for an off-season.
There's no responsibility.
There's no responsibility, so you just let yourself go.
It's like cage lions.
Yeah, it's
Keep it there. You can't drink it in the season, or also go do what you want.
So it's almost
now everyone gets in trouble in the off-season.
But that's the problem, right? It's what happens in the space, and there's nothing like just guys go do what you want rather than having not a controlled environment. You should be able to go out and be who you want to be.
Yep.
Then you've got telephones and you've got people watching you and you got the
worst
media
thing that happens
you.
in society, camera phones.
Yeah.
Anytime we're out partying, like if someone got a phone, they got smashed.
Yeah.
Just see you later.
They're dangerous. And what about the best thing about leading you into off season? The Mad Mondays.
Oh,
mate, they are.
So top 10 days of my life.
Oh,
Daughter getting born.
yeah.
Yeah.
Next 9 of Mad Mondays.
Mate.
Yeah, the best days.
You-
Some things that some blokes you go, what in the best days of your
Some
life?
of the things that you would get up to or you'd see on Mad Monday, never speak about them because you just got to have them there in that
Yeah.
moment. I was involved in most of them, funnily enough. But they are. It's like you when you're like 4 or 5 and you've asked for a Christmas present and you know it's there, and you run out and you open it and you get it. That's what Mad Monday is, and then all of a sudden that just leads into, you know,
Tuesday.
whatever you choose to do for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And some people, you know, do it differently, and some people just keep having a little bit of fun before they got to go.
Well, how long are these Mad Mondays? How many days? What's the record?
Oh, I don't know. So if you get knocked out on Saturday, everyone's like, we're on Mad Monday, but it's like, we're on a Saturday night, Sunday, Monday.
Okay,
So there you go.
So it starts early.
Yeah, people will go and come back and they'll get sprayed and whatever. Like
you got to drink. You drop if you rock
if
up
you're late,
you got to drink warm port. They put port out in the sun in the car park.
Wow.
So if you'd come after 9 o'clock, you'd just go over, put a glass of warm port from the car park in, have to scull it.
Yeah.
So you'd go straight in.
Yeah.
Because you can't drink it. It's fucking 500 degrees.
Was that every club?
I don't know. That's the ones we went to.
No,
There was something. You had to do something if you were late. Yeah. So
a lot of things we can't talk about.
Yeah.
That haven't made my
I think
the
we've seen
days,
some of them on the news anyway. We've seen a lot of it on the news, but it's when you look at boys at that age, especially in sport, I mean, almost everything goes to an extent.
To be honest, too, like at the back of my mind, they were getting younger and younger. So when you're on Mad Monday and doing whatever you're doing, these younger fellas want to get involved. And I'm like, oh, hang on, I was 23, like you're 18, like you know what I mean? Like it's just getting. That's what that was like there. But Mad Monday.
What do you think they can do in rugby league now to help?
Educate.
And is there anything like that? Like we talk about all the time.
We used to get people come in to talk about drugs and all that, and they were blokes that didn't drink or take drugs.
Okay.
So they need people like me and Jakey going there. They've lived that life, going, boys, you know, when they have fun, but this is the consequences of what happened, right? And they won't sit there and go, well, what would you know? I've lived it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you need people like that in there.
And there's certain questions you can go ask before. Who here's from a broken family? Who here's never met their mum or dad? Who here has seen things or heard things or had things done to them that they wish they didn't happen? Because that's the underlying factors to a lot of things, if not most things, because
99%.
Exactly right. There's things sitting dormant in us that don't get acknowledged. Then all of a sudden, as I said last week, here's money, here's playing on the TV, here's your heroes, but be normal. It doesn't work. It may for some. It may people learn their lessons early, or people choose not to accept their lessons early. It's life.
But when you're asking those questions, like in a big room environment, there wouldn't be many people putting their hand up. Like, so you take them aside, have a chat to them. I think they should bring in. If you're employed at a club, you're a mandatory reporter. So Jakey's not going to come to me and go, hey, Mullo, I got on the thing on the weekend because I've got to go tell the club. So if you're an independent people coming in and going, hey, how can I help you with your habit or whatever like that, that's the way they should go down it.
Yeah. And we talk about Jan, and she's been a tremendous help to
Jane or Jan?
Jan. What did I say? Did I say Jan? Fuck.
G.I. Jane.
No, Jan. G.I. Jane. But what was Jan's conversations towards you? And and obviously, like, she's done a lot of amazing things with a lot of rugby league players, but she's only one person. Yeah. So someone like that needs support.
Yeah. Oh, she's got a team around her now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you wouldn't. I'm not going to name her. You wouldn't know what players she's helped. She's helped a lot of players behind the scenes and stuff like that. But she's a very honest person. Like, she'll tell you how it is. Like, and she knows when you're bullshitting. You know? And when she got a hold of me when I was in rehab, I agreed to, for 18 months, I think I got like 30 or 40 urine tests. So at any stage she could ring me and go do a urine test today. And I agreed to that. So it keep me. That's another thing that helped me get clean and sober, because if I got on it and that did the test, she would ask me, you know what I mean? So she's she's very good at her job. She's very good at what she does. So she helps a lot more people than what people think.
Yeah.
What do you just to finish, give us your top 5 teammates and why?
Teammates.
So like, you got your mates that don't play footy, but I'm talking when you come to the locker room, you're like, say it's Monday. I used to love Monday mornings because you come in there and you go.
Kuuiwaito.
Yeah. So you got one.
So I'll tell you a story about a coup.
Yep.
One Monday I rocked up and I look over and there's a bloke painting himself white in a Knights jersey. Well, like that. I look over. I was like, what are you? He goes, I'm you. he come dressed as me, mate, Monday at the footy. He was like barking people around. And I said, imagine if I come as you. Imagine the backlash. If I dressed myself black and I was a Kuyuato. Right? It was the funniest
That
thing.
is the
So
best.
by the end of the day, because it was hot,
Yeah.
it was like sweating. So he looked like a crazy clown. Like, mate, it was funny. It was the funniest thing. But yeah, a coup. What teammates in terms of what, like just funny or just
Yeah,
good?
just like who you had the most fun. Like, and this is like when you rock up to the locker room. I used to
Yeah.
love Monday mornings because
Yeah.
if we'd all gone out on the weekend after a win or a loss,
Yeah.
you knew there was stories and you knew there was a couple sad faces and you
Yeah.
knew there was people flying high.
Yeah.
So like Mondays was like a mixed bag of
Yeah.
chocolates. Like
So
you just
a
didn't
coup,
know.
Chris Houston,
Yeah, how's
Yeah,
that?
that was good.
Legend.
Big Willie,
Yes,
Mason.
I was-
So when Willie was at Newcastle, he lived with me.
Oh,
So
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Probably undoing, but
Yeah.
anyway, I love you, mate. Oh, mate, I had a lot of good time. James McManus.
Yeah. He was the winger, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Was he the guy that got with the concussion?
Yeah,
How's he going?
Oh, I haven't spoken to him,
Yeah.
not all that good, I don't think.
okay.
But yeah, he got. Mate, I remember pretty much every single game I played, he got knocked out.
Okay.
Because when he used to run, he used to dive at the last minute at people's knees. And like get up, and back in the day, it was a badge of honour to keep going. And I'll be looking at him sometimes, going, "You're right, Jimmy." He'd be going like everywhere. So I don't know what his brain's like now, but I've got to say, probably Craig Smith was good.
Yep.
Big Smithy.
Yeah, front row.
Yeah, the knee lifter. And Steve Simpson. Like, oh, there's so
There's
many.
heaps. You got
There's
a
heaps, yeah.
ton.
But Craig Smith one day. So I was the biggest smartass when I was on the drink.
Yeah.
So it was him.
No, you weren't.
It was him, Steve Simpson, Daniel Abraham, and I was going up to him going, "Use a soft cocks, whatever like that." And it was at the nightclub, and they kept on like grabbing my shirt, ripping it, and punching me in the face like that. So by the end of the night, I had blood everywhere. My shirt was ripped, and the bouncers thought I got jumped. So I was like, "No, I was just being a smart ass." And then the next day at training, Smithy comes in, and he tries to park, like get in, so you can't get out of your car.
Yeah.
But he goes too close, and he crushes me car from the back passenger into me. So I'm getting crushed like this. And he looks over and goes, "Oh, sorry about that, mate. Like, hard school. See you inside."
don't
I'm
worry
like, "Are you
about
going to fix that, man?" Or, no, nothing.
Have fun.
Yeah, but I was just, I was at school back. You did that today. Kids
Yeah.
would cry.
Oh.
But, no, I had a lot of good team. I had a lot of good memories. A lot of good Mad Monday memories. So that was good.
I have a funny story about cars. Second boot camp I did. So the first one we went and did 3-day when Wayne rocked up. So the next year after, Wayne goes, "All right, whoever did the boot camp last year, you're over there, you don't have to do it this year."
Yes.
And I'm like, fucking boom. He's like, "Except you, Jake. You didn't have a fucking go last year. You're going again." And I was like, so I had everyone laughing at me like in my face. And I was like, fuck, I thought I had a crack.
I would have cried.
I was pretty emotional to be honest with you. So we've gone down, done the boot camp. I've come back. I get back to the training oval. It's like 7 a.m. in the morning. The guys are doing their training session. I look down. My car is up on the hill, training field, far corner. Come in, keys in a water bucket in the freezer, frozen.
Wow.
Bo Scott, the best.
Oh, Bowie.
Bowie would just do shit like that. So I had to wait for my keys to thaw out. The electric unlock didn't
gone.
work anymore. I had to put the car in and twist and drive it back from the train.
Bowie, mate.
The best.
Yeah.
Those things are hilarious.
Bowie would train like he plays.
Yeah.
You know, you do all the niggly sort of stuff. You do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
training. You like
Really?
push
Pull your
ankle and
fingers
shit.
back,
Oh,
yeah.
mate. But you hear that strength. He was so strong.
Mongo.
He had that natural strength, right?
Yeah.
He could break tackles and you'd go, how do you
But
get
he was
through
my
that?
back rower next to me, so
Yeah.
I used to love him. So he'd make all my tackles for me.
Yeah.
So thanks, Bowie.
GM people.
And who are the players now that you still stay in contact with? Is that group changed, if any?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Everyone's so busy in their own lives.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that sort
right.
of stuff. But like, still speak to Newdale a bit, Clint Newton,
Yeah.
Dale Pereira.
Yeah.
Mate, what he's done has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Honestly, phenomenal. To stand up for the players and
Yeah.
against all odds and all that. So I call him a very close mate. But yeah, you just run into the boys every now and then, whatever.
Yeah.
But I love watching Newcastle from afar, and they'll always be in my heart. So yeah.
That's mad, bro.
Yeah. Well, man, thanks for
Nice meeting
popping
you.
in, man.
Nice meeting you.
Fucking hell. What a shocker
no,
that
we've
was,
met
eh?
before. We've
Fucking
met
hell,
before,
bro.
actually.
Fuck, what a shocker that was. But
Yeah.
anyway, What I love about you is just this comeback. Well, I love everyone's comeback story. And I remember when that 4-year ban would have happened, it would have been so hard. And then going through what you went through and cleaning yourself up to face all the scars that happened throughout your whole life, from the trauma, even though you love your parents, but just those little things that happen that culminate into, not taking an overdose, but fucking accidentally getting there and just having that one shot again. And now you've cleaned yourself up and been sober for 6 years. Bro, I'm fucking proud of you.
Yeah,
you know
I appreciate it, yeah.
And I know what Chimes would be like knowing that as well, because he is one of those guys, and I speak to him about rugby league players, and he does give a shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, he does. Yeah.
He does give a shit, and
A lot of play managers don't, but he does.
yeah, he does. And I just want to thank you, because your story, I knew you had 4 years, but didn't know the exact story of what happened to you. I knew.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't.
you just read what they've decided.
I think
to
it's
put in the
important for
paper.
people to understand that.
Yeah, bro,
because
100%.
people, you could be in the street and people are just judging you and going, I fucking took steroids for 4 years, but it was a fucking accident. I can't tell you how many of those stories happen often in not just rugby league, but in all sports. And then, through the media, you're demonised, and then you're like, my identity was fucking rugby league. Now you've taken it away from me. I don't even know who I am. And then people are supposed to deal with that.
Yeah,
And it's
it
not
takes
just how it works.
Probably the bravest thing I've had to do is like to get off the drugs and alcohol and actually face your demons. It's hard.
Fucking-
As you know, it's hard. It's easy to keep going down that road. You know what I mean? The old road. So So now the coaching that I'm doing, like obviously doing rugby league coaching, but also helping the kids.
Yeah.
I've done this. This is what you can sort of do. So you sort of like mentoring them into a better life.
To be honest, the people that have gone through it, the hardships and the downfalls are the best people, and they're the best teachers as well.
Teachers, yeah.
Because you talk about Tony Robbins with a big jaw.
I had honestly had no idea what you're
doesn't
talking about.
he?
He
Sorry,
does, yeah.
Tony. Sorry,
Yeah, but-
mate.
but no,
Massive fan.
but what I'm
Massive fan.
I was doing something for you.
But what I mean by that is, mate, he had a hard life too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He had a hard life. So if he doesn't have a hard life, who's going to listen to him?
Exactly, yeah.
And so no, thanks again, bro.
Yeah, thanks for
It
coming
means a
on,
lot.
bro. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Champion.
Cheers, Tony.
Fuck, now I remember you, bro.